G'day, and welcome to Inforunners, day 2 of the IAE Expo. I really had to think about that one for a second. I've got Osiris joining me today, man. How you doing?
How's it going, man?
Good, man. Have you got any more referrals? Because we've been asking people for the last couple of videos to get some referrals.
So yeah, I've gotten a couple prospects. Nobody's bit the bullet and spent money in the game yet, but things are starting to happen. So I really appreciate that.
We'll keep pushing that for a little bit then, and hopefully the community can help you out, man. Because I know you're the only one that doesn't have a Gladius, so we'll see if you can get a Gladius. All right, well, on with today's show. I'm going to cut it straight over to the browser. We just witnessed an F5 war. We saw a couple of people get Idrises and a couple of people not get Idris.
I won
in our group. Yeah. How long did it take you to get an Idris? Just let people know how long it took.
I've been a backer since the Kickstarter, and I finally got one today. And I've been trying every single year at the IAE.
Yeah, that's how scary it is. That's scary.
It's still a horseshit system, even though I won. Like it's still it's stupid.
And in relation to me being in Australia, he actually got it before I could even get this page to load. And I'll just give you a little heads up here. If we go down the page till we get to where the Idrises and that are meant to be, I don't even get access to them. They don't even appear. They've just been sucked off the page. So yeah, it's starting to get a little bit beyond the joke. IAE deal of the day. I kind of do need to go through this a little bit in depth, actually, because I've been given a list of by several sources of the CCUs that are likely to be up across the course of the sale. And if you are interested in possibly getting, say, a Polaris, the Polaris does look like it'll be one of the ones available on RSI Day. You could essentially buy a Nomad, get the LTI upgrade, and upgrade your way all the way through these different ships of the sale and basically get a heavily discounted Polaris. Now, I've got no idea how much of the discount's going to be. That's the one thing I don't have. But I do know that there is a series of ships, and there's probably about 6 to 8 of them that are in a row that you could actually go through. And I know you know a fair bit about this from... you were the one telling me about this at Invictus, Osiris. So...
Yeah,
I did link those to you before. I can't open them right now, but if you can open that image that I linked to you, you might be able to read a few of them off if you wouldn't mind. I know I've put you on the spot.
Yeah, just 1 second. I gotta my monitor setup is a little bit wonky, so I always have to look off to the side here, and I'm just pulling up that image now. So it looks like obviously yesterday was the Nomad. Today is the Warden.
Yep.
It looks like tomorrow is going to be the Hawk. On day 4, it's going to be the Mercury Star Runner. Day 5 is the Freelancer MAX. Day 6 is the Bandit Merchantman. Day 7 is the 600i, and then day 8 is the 600i, and then day 9 is the Polaris. So if you kind of like spread those out in order of dollar value, and you can kind of strategically arrange your CCU chain. I've been, like a lot of people in our Discord, myself included, have been working on CCU chains since the Prowler came out late last year, was it? And that was heavily discounted. That was the beginning of this discounted Warbond CCU thing. So I'm going to see how far this takes me.
So to make it easier for people, I'll actually transfer that into text, and I'll leave a list for people in the description below. So if you've heard that kind of little bit of, because we do things live, I'll definitely leave that in the description below for you guys to check out. And that may allow you to plan. And that doesn't just work for just the Polaris. That works for kind of any ship along that you would like to get a discount on. That'll allow you to buy those CCs. And you want to try and buy the one as close to that ship as possible, so you're not buying it with cash. And in some cases, it might cost you $30. In some cases, it must only cost you $5. But you need to work.
The other thing too about that is that the name of the game is patience. And if you buy this and you don't apply it, just hang on to it, because as this year has played out, there have been more and more of these Warbond discounted CCUs, and you can like fill in the gaps in between them each time. Like I just grabbed a Warbond Warden one, and I saved another $10 on my CCU chain. If you just patient enough, you can save a couple of $100. There's no rush to apply these to ships, and you may later on down the line find a ship that you like better than what you thought you wanted to buy with the CCU chain now. So just be patient. You have until, I think they said beta was when they were going to make you lock down your fleet.
If you manage to get $15 less, because I think we worked out at Invictus, it was like only $15 more expensive than it was on the day of release for the Banu Merchantman. So it'd actually be ironically funny if you could actually get Banu Merchantmans cheaper than they were on the original concept.
Oh yeah, you definitely
That'd
can.
be hilarious. Considering they've been thrown up by $100, that's quite funny. So yeah. All right, so now we've kind of gone over that. We'll kind of go through the ships for today. So obviously got Reclaimer. We've got Retaliator, Bomber, Saber Comet, all the Vanguards that I'm not going to read out, but they're basically the ones there. Of those, what ones speak to you, Osiris?
Well, obviously the Reclaimer, it's a giant industry ship that, yeah, we know that gameplay's not in yet, but it's probably going to be coming in some form in the next 12 months would be my guess, probably closer to the end of the 12 months. They need to get iCache and object permanence into the game, and then they can start working on things like salvage.
It's actually, oh, sorry. I just while you're on the Reclaimer, because we'll go through it together. But
sure,
the Reclaimer for me is my favorite ship in the game, and I like it because it's economic and it's got a bit of exploration with the, before you salvage ship, you've got to go through it and find out what's in there, and you might find some mysterious things like aliens or why the crew. So it's kind of like investigative exploring. So that's why I really like that one. Any other ships there that you like, Cyrus?
For Aegis, I think, see, I'm torn. I always say how much I hate the look of the Redeemer, but I think it's going to be a really standout combat ship.
I haven't talked about that yet,
I don't like the wings,
we'll
but if you can get over the aesthetics or whatever, or maybe that's your style, it's definitely worth grabbing one.
I actually own the Redeemer. And I have a big tie to it because of the next great starship. I think it was the most enjoyable time I've ever had watching Star Citizen content. It was just amazing, and I would highly encourage anyone that's really passionate about this game to go back and watch it all. It was just it was really exciting every week, tuning in to see what the community was creating, like what was their kind of dream ship and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed it, and it's never been repeated. I know maybe down the track they'll repeat it, but it hasn't been until that time. The other one for me, so the Redeemer is definitely on the cards. The other one, I think, especially the flyable, because we're just kind of going through this top one first, is the Retaliator. Whether it's the base or the bomber, and I'll explain why, but I think Osiris will probably agree with me. This is the sleeping smuggler ship. This is the ship that nobody tends to ever think about. I still think, even with the MSR on the scene, this still is better than it. Does your thoughts echo my own there, Osiris, or?
Yeah, I do. It's got a modular interior. It's got a little bit of stealth, and I think while it's not exactly my cup of tea, I do agree with what you've said.
Yeah, and so the way that kind of works is because
and the base is pretty cheap, right? It's like a same price as a Taurus, I think.
150. Yeah, it's quite cheap. So you could get the base and then basically earn the modules in game. Again, I don't recommend buying the bomber because you're really paying for. By the way, the loaner for the base is the bomber. That's how funnily ironic it is, right? So you just get the Retaliator base and you get the bomber anyway at the moment. But yeah, the modules that are there it's kind of a deceptive gameplay, as in, like, if someone sees you from far away, they're like, oh, is that a bomber? Or would he possibly have the cargo modules in and being smuggling? Or does he have living quarters in it? And is he like actually transporting VIPs using the living module?
Right.
Like they're immigrants.
How likely is somebody going to be to want to go and scan you when you might chuck a couple of size 9 torpedoes at him?
And then because the ship
probably leave you alone.
Yeah, and because the ship itself is stealth based, that naturally also lends towards the smuggling gameplay. They've said several times that cargo itself can have smuggling modules in it, so it basically means any ship could be a smuggling ship. But that then naturally means if it's stealth based, so the ship's harder to find, it is the best smuggling ship. This is currently the largest stealth based ship that carries cargo. Makes it the best smuggling, because then you can carry more of that rarer cargo, where something like the MSR, it's only going to have this small window of cargo that it holds off to the side and kind of hides it, where this, you could have the whole ship full of cargo. So that's the Retaliator. The Redeemer, as you kind of mentioned it, yeah, I actually think this is, when it's all said and done, is going to be a really cool little attack ship. I look at it like a mini Hammerhead. But that's just me. Where the Hammerhead tacks below it, this kills ships above it and around it and all that. So I think it's better than a Hammerhead, personally. Less crew, not as bored, can land on other ships, so therefore, you know, where the Hammerhead's just constantly sitting out there and waiting.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, not a fan of the Hammerhead, which is here somewhere under. Why is it? Yeah, maybe it hasn't loaded for me.
I think that the Hammerhead is going to come into, or discussion of the place of the Hammerhead will probably come into focus on RSI Day. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would totally agree. There's a lot. Oh man, we missed
Stay
some ships,
tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
Boy, did we miss some ships. So we missed the Hammerhead, the Gladiuses, the Eclipse. That is the most expensive overpriced ship in the game. If I said
it is, but here I'll tell you, I bought one today. I bought an Eclipse today so that I could get the skin at the end of the IAE, and then I'm going to melt it. And then if I ever end up with a pack that has it in it or something, I think the skin is pretty cool. So.
Yeah, the one acceptable reason is to get the skin and then melt it straight after, or have an exit strategy. I don't have a problem with that. Really good Avenger Titan. If you watched our buyer's guide yesterday on the Nomad, both Algon and I still recommend this Titan over the Nomad. The Nomad's just too cargo focused, and it's just got some really weird shit going on there. So the more versatile ship would still be the Titan and the Cutlass, where the Nomad goes way more towards cargo.
Yeah, I would say, as far as for newer backers, right? Like for a long time, we and other people would recommend buy a game package, upgrade your starter ship to an Avenger Titan. And I think like that's really the only move I would recommend still. A lot of these advanced ship recommendations we make are for people who are crazy like us and have spent way too much money on a video game. 100%. But you don't need to. You can fully enjoy this game, and you can earn everything a game with a starter ship. Or if you want just a little tangible quality of life improvements, upgrade your starter to an Avenger Titan and go no further. Spend no more money on this game. You'll be fine.
I'd have to agree with that completely. I'm at the point now where I actually, and I think Algrid would say the same thing I know about you, but I would actually go backwards if I could, not forwards.
100%. Yeah.
All right. The only other thing really on the cards for today is paint jobs.
Actually, there's one more ship I want to talk about, if that's okay, before we jump to the paint.
What was that?
It's another industry ship. It's, I think, the only other Aegis industry ship. It's the Vulcan. I just kind of wanted to point out.
I had a feeling. Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of people are into that because they're into the gameplay, maybe, and I am too. I really enjoy that repair, refuel, rearm gameplay idea. We'll see how they implement it. I'm sure if they put as much attention into it as they put into mining, it's going to be a lot of fun. But I want to caution you a couple of things that I think about the Vulcan. I think it's probably the lowest value ship in Star Citizen. It's a $200 profession starter, and I know
actually the lowest value is the Hurricane, but we can get into that after the show. But
anyway, okay, well, non-combat ships, but
I'll give you that.
Here's the thing: people look at it and they say, "Well, that's a medium ship." Yep. So, I don't. That's got to do more with its size than its role. Small, medium, large profession ships. Just given like its capability, its SEU of cargo, how many drones it carries, what it's analogous to, I see that as the starter for repair, refuel, rearm. Mostly because I don't know how you could be effective in that role if you went any smaller than the Vulcan. So even though it says medium ship, I will continue to believe until I see something smaller that it's the profession starter, and at $200, it's just too much.
Paul actually thinks that there could be a ship under this, but we'll see. But Algrid and I, one of the reasons we don't like the Vulcan is the Crucible. Now, this has, if you take 2 Crucibles, that is a crew of 6, and it costs $400. I think it's more than $400. Where when you can get 1 Crucible for $350, it takes 5 crews.
Still $350 US.
Yeah, but it's
unless the price goes up this year.
Yeah, but it scales a lot better because if you look at ships that are in the game now that are across the size category, so you've got small, medium, large, and capital. The Crucible is a capital, and we've got a small in the Vulcan. They just don't scale properly. So you are far better to buy the Crucible and then earn the other repair ships underneath it. You'll get far better value. And a way you can start to look at that is when you look at, say, something the Prospector is a small ship and the Mole is the medium. So you also know the Orion is the capital and there's one that's missing, which is some large ship in the middle. You start to see how the things scale. And just going from small to medium, you literally double the size of the lasers in the Mole, and it's quite solvable. So why the hell would you ever buy the advanced starter when you can buy the medium? And why the hell would you buy any of them when you can go straight to the capital, use that to earn all the ships underneath it? And again, especially if you're talking about as soon as you've got one friend that wants to buy another Vulcan, work together and buy the Crucible. If you're thinking about any type of multiplayer gameplay, go straight for the capital 9 times out of 10. And if you think my logic is unsound, please come on Discord and I will explain it to you very quick. We had a gentleman on today and he was like shocked and horrid and he couldn't believe that I wanted him to melt all these advanced starters and the sheer amount of money he was saving, he also couldn't believe. Because once he got it all through and his friends came on and looked at the fleet that I'd help him prepare, they were like, oh, dude, that's way better.
Yeah.
Look how much
if you
money
can,
we've saved.
if you have a Crucible or a Reclaimer and you can get the friends together on one weekend to just hang out for a few hours and run missions with that ship, the amount of UEC you will personally earn, you can buy all those little profession starters.
Yeah. And if you're only getting one ship like me and Osiris have been suggesting, there's no reason, like say me and Osiris was playing together and we wanted to do salvage and repair, right? Now the Crucible and the Reclaimer work really well together, so I could get the Reclaimer because as I said before, it's my favorite ship, and Osiris can get the repair, and we can play together and earn all the ships in between and below. Like it's really, really easy. So eventually I could work out with the Vulture to do salvage on my own, and Osiris can work out with the Vulcan to do repair on his own, or vice versa, or everything. You are far better to work your way down than you are to literally, as an Australian term, push shit uphill and go from a small ship to a large ship. It's far harder. Anyway, I digress there. Let's get on to the paints. Not too many here that appeal to me at all. Is there any that appeal to you in the paints? We've got some white and blue.
I have to admit that I kind of like the white camo look of the Saber one, even though I'm not really into the snow camo thing in general. It looks good on that ship. But again, I agree with you. Talked about this yesterday. I'm not a fan of the price of these paint things, and we know that eventually in-game ship skin customization is happening where you're going to be able to have custom paint jobs anyway. So I don't think that it's worth, unless there's like some really unique skin that comes out in the future, like the Night Runner skin for the Mercury Star Runner, for example. It's really not worth spending money on this when you could spend money on a ship that will earn you UEC in game to get all this stuff way cheaper.
Yeah. So what Osiris is explaining in short is you're paying money to get it now rather than just waiting to get it when the game releases. That's it in short, 9 times out of 10. I do really like,
unless you're a streamer or content creator, like I would really caution you against getting things based on what the game is now for the short term. Just have some patience. It's going to be a couple more years, but it'll be much more worth it to have discipline in that regard.
Yeah, so about $100 more than the Nomad, and it went up by $2. So if it's $2 per 100, we'll see how the scale goes, but I think it's going to jump a little bit more harshly when it gets up to the higher ones. Again, if you guys have any questions, let us know about the ships that you brought. If you have any, if you need help, you can reach out through the YouTube comments. You can hit us up on Discord. Argrid was meant to be here, but he slept in. So I'm just leaving that in so people can leave that in the comments. Snorri Old Man Owl. And we'll be back tomorrow. I believe we've got Anvil tomorrow. I could be wrong there, but we're back tomorrow. Are you going to be joining me tomorrow, or I think you can you make it or not? I can't remember.
I can't. I have a family thing tomorrow, but I will. The latter half of next week is a holiday in the States, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll probably be around a few days.
All right, cool. So yeah, it looks like I'm doing half of this with you and half of this with Arrogant for this week. So that's good. I've got some company. I don't like doing it alone. I kind of get a little bit too much. All right, so yeah, let us know in the comments if you like these type of videos, subscribe, all that. If you want to go further on Patreon, all that type of stuff.
Join us on Discord.
Yeah, we've also done a buyer's guide for the Consolidated Outland Nomad that me and Arrogant did. We've also done a Fix My Feet recently, if you want to see how that's kind of done. That'll go into more of this mentality. We are looking at getting a buyer's guide out for the Mercury Star, and I'm hoping to bring that out on Crusaders Day. Other than that, he's been Osiris. I've been Execute. Sorry, I'm trying to do some fancy camera work at the same time, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
See you later.